Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and today we're going to talk about Bannerlord, more specifically the Warhammer mod, The Old Realms. As the mod team have posted another one of their monthly updates, and this one's quite cool. It introduces a new system. Now, yes, there hasn't been a patch just yet. I believe the last content patch was around January, so I imagine that when they're ready, they'll start to release the next content patch. It's actually a good thing that they're taking time to be able to do this, as that means that the world is going to get fleshed out. And if it means that new systems are going to be coming in, not just parts of the world, that's even better. So right now, we've been able to see some basic Reiksguard stuff, some light wizard stuff, and obviously for the Empire Smiths, but we're going to start moving into Bretonnia now, where we've got some models of the actual armor itself, some Bretonnian spears, some Grail Knight shields, also Knights of the Realm shields, so there's actually quite a bit. I have seen some people say that they don't really look too Bretonnia-y, and that's the thing, until you actually see them mounted on horses with barding, then they're not really going to look like Bretonnians. Though, mind you, it fits with the theme of Warhammer the Old World, as now we know that we've got Knights on foot, so that's actually quite cool. I'm loving the design so far. I can't wait to see a Bretonnia expansion, as we know the following. But the next planned update is going to add not just 2 regions, but 8 whole dukedoms, which is absolutely impressive. We've got a little bit of a map here, which I think is actually quite interesting. It's going to add in quite a bit of territory. Obviously, you have to keep in mind that the dukedoms are smaller than, say, for example, an imperial province, but the idea is obviously that's more factions. You're going to see a lot more coming into play, a lot more warfare, and that's pretty much what we all want, isn't it? Where this has been stated in the previous update, so this is the one that happened for April, that the new content, everything added for Bretonnia, is going to make up 1/3 of the total playable area so far. Again, very big, considering that what we already have is fairly large, even for a small portion of the Warhammer world. So we're not shown too much, but they do show us Brionne and Carcassonne both in-game, which I think is quite impressive. Obviously, these are areas in the southern tip of Bretonnia, so having Carcassonne already there shows that they're expanding the map quite nicely. I can't wait to play this. I can't wait for a new build, as, again, Bretonnia is cool, you know. Bretonnia is one of those factions that a lot of people do love, despite the fact that they weren't played on the tabletop too much, mostly because, you know, bad rules in later editions. But we don't have to worry about bad rules here. I can't wait to explore through Bretonnia. That would be a great playthrough, actually, just starting up as a dukedom, taking over, forming my own Grail companions, all that type of stuff. There are also some dwarf placeholders being introduced into the campaign map, which, again, cool. It's great to see that stuff is expanding. They're already not only thinking ahead for future content updates, but it'll make the world fleshed out. Even if, say, for example, we can't go to the dwarf holds, it would be cool to just see them, as, again, it's immersive, right? Plus, let's be honest, dwarf architecture for the Warhammer Fantasy dwarves has always looked kind of cool. Yeah, very similar to like Tolkien and so on, but with its own little flavor. And yeah, I mean, I can't wait to play dwarfs in the future, especially since this mod keeps adding in interesting and unique mechanics, which we're going to talk about right now. So a religion system is planning to be introduced alongside the Kings and Saints update. We're planning on introducing our own custom-made religion system. The system will affect both the players and AI. That's awesome. As new mechanics, it's easy enough for a player to interact, but AI is going to be quite interesting. So bringing with it a range of interactable and background mechanics. This is just a start. As we expand our world, we will also be expanding the faction pantheons. So let's read over the next section. The new religions. Every character within our mod, including the player, will have some direct or indirect interaction with the various gods of the old world. For now, our system covers 3 deities: Sigmar, the Lady of the Lake, and Tal. Yeah, that makes sense considering the areas already implemented and the areas that are coming in, so cool. These gods will provide blessings. When a party goes to shrines dedicated to their specific deity on the campaign map, they can choose to pray for a reward. These blessings can result in morale or speed buffs for the party on the campaign map. Choosing to pray will also aid in the recruitment of holy troops such as flagellants. Through the act of praying at these shrines, the player's alignments with any one of the gods can shift, and this will apply to the AI as well. Choosing and changing your alignment will have ramifications that affect your campaign further down the line, such as leading to wars, etc. The specific methods and requirements will be made clear on release. Fair play. I guess they're getting closer to release, mostly because we can see some work here. I will check those screenshots out in a second. I kind of like the system. I think this is pretty interesting. It'll definitely give you reason to go out into the world and explore, not just go from city to city or building up your warband to then take over another city. Yeah, this should be kind of cool. I'm really curious to see how this is going to work in theory. So the shrines themselves are going to be fairly small on the campaign map, but very noticeable. And yeah, that looks cool. I actually like the idea. You just have to find them around. There's going to be shrines littered around any of the specific areas where that deity is worshipped, I imagine. And it looks pretty interesting, especially since we can give items in terms of offerings. I think there's going to be more about that information a little bit later. But yeah, I like the idea. It'll definitely make the world feel more fleshed out. We know that this is going to be centered around the old world. So there's loads of deities that do get worshipped within the empire. I wonder how that's going to work, if one province is going to be more shifted towards one or the other, or if there'll be a mix of shrines within the province, because, you know, Verena isn't really a major deity. Will she be represented, or would she play a more minor role? Either way, I'm excited. This is going to be quite cool. And we do have a little perk tree. This is going to be quite cool. So, Faith. You can get a personal ward save increase, which is going to be interesting. Obviously, that means that you're going to be negating damage. And party leader blessing duration increase by a certain percentage. Okay. It looks like it's going to be quite fleshed out. It doesn't look too big, I think, compared to a lot of the other things. But then again, there's only so much that you could do with Faith. But we do have a little bit of information below, so let's check that out. Praying affects your Faith skill. This Faith skill, in turn, affects the gifts that you can receive from your god. Each point you put into the skill tree will increase the duration of blessings and increase the amount of religion-related troops that you can acquire. You can also donate items from your inventory to a chosen deity to receive influence. We have chosen a few examples to highlight our system further. Revival. This perk increases the chances of your troops within your party surviving a fatal blow. Yeah, that would actually be quite useful. Blessed. Your clan gains 3 influence points for every clan member in a blessed party. That's awesome. Influence is obviously something very, very important to Bannerlord. So yeah, this is going to be really, really useful. And a miracle. Your faith is so strong that it is able to manifest positive religious events from time to time. What are these miracles, you say? Wait and see. That's a shame. I would have loved to know what they have planned for miracles and so on. As, yeah, it's a little blue balling, but I understand why they don't want to say anything right now. They're probably just making sure that everything works. So yeah, that's great. Yeah, I quite like the system. The main thing is I just can't wait to play this. We don't know exactly when this patch is going to drop, though they said patches were going to be, what, every 6 months or so on? We don't know if that's going to stay the same thing, so don't take my word as gospel. Yeah, but still, very, very cool. And finally, we have some information for the vampires. While there are new holy sites to visit, there are also unholy ones. The vampire counts will have their own counterpart that will allow both necromancers and vampires to recruit ghost units, while also in the future offering sinister boons to those who can worship much darker powers. Curse sites are also an inconvenience for non-undead factions. As an example, all parties that move through the cursed swamps of Sylvania will suffer from attrition and should not risk staying too long, lest you join the dead. Okay, this is a pretty good system, because one thing that I did notice during the current live build is that, well, you know, you can move freely from Sylvania, which is supposed to be a dangerous place. So I like the idea of the swamps being dangerous and you taking some attrition. You're going to have to plan ahead. You're going to have to think, well, I'm going to have to bring a large army to be able to sustain myself if I'm pushing through Sylvania. I wonder how that's going to work in terms of modifiers and so on. I guess we're going to have to wait and see. But this update is looking very, very interesting. I can't wait to see it properly. But if one thing's certain, the team behind the Old Realms is very dedicated to making this a very unique experience. So what do you guys think about this? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and let's start a bit of a discussion.